part of the Vatican City. Can you see the mosaic there? It's not a fresco, that's why the colors are so bright. So the mosaic represents a God in the middle in between St. Paul and St. Peter. The driver is so kind that he has stopped so that you can take your pictures. This church is dedicated to St. Paul because it was built right on the top of the tomb of St. Paul. St. Paul and St. Peter are the protectors of the city of Rome, the patrons of Rome. Why? Because when they arrived here, they were killed here because they were Christians. So they were killed during the persecution of Nero. And they were buried here. There are lots of scooters, you have to be careful, because they are really like pirates on the roads. We have a lot of scooters because since the cars are stuck in the traffic, there are lots of scooters in Rome. The scooters are the most popular means of transportation. A pyramid. You're not in Egypt, don't worry. Buildings that were already existing. That's why the pyramid is part of the Aurelian walls. The huge complex of the Caracalla Baths on your right hand side. This was built again in the 3rd century AD, but a little bit earlier than the Aurelian walls. Here inside there were swimming pools with hot water called the Calidarium, with cold water called the Frigidarium, and there were also 2 libraries here inside, one in Greek and one in Latin. Why Greek and Latin? Because Latin was the everyday language, the language used by the Romans, and Greek was the language of culture. So the Romans used to come here and they used to study as well. They used to say in Latin, mens sana in corpore sano, which means here inside the thermal baths. And now we are proceeding towards the heart of ancient Rome. You know that in Rome there are 7 hills. This is the city of the 7 hills. And the Palatine Hill is the most important one because it's the place in which Rome was founded. In Civitavecchia as well, also inside the port where some umbrella pine trees. They are typical of all the Mediterranean area, that's why you can find them here in Naples, in Greece. And you see the traffic here in Rome, it's unbelievable. That's why we have, being a driver here in Rome is like being a superhero. You really need superpowers to drive here. I don't live in Rome, that's why I live in Civitavecchia, the situation is much better. Anyway, look on your right hand side, can you see this huge field? That's the Circus Maximus, what is left of the Circus Maximus? More or less nothing. This was the place of chariot races. If you saw the movie Ben Hur, maybe you know what I'm talking about. So the Circus Maximus was called the Maximus because it means huge in Latin. And it was really huge because it could contain up to 250,000 spectators. So lots of people could enter the Circus Maximus and enjoy the chariot races. The chariot had to turn all the way around for 7 times. Why 7? Because 7 was the magic number for Rome. 7 like the names, the number of the hills, and 7 also like the numbers of the kings. In Rome there were 7 kings, that's why 7 times. Consider that in the middle of the circus there were 2 obelisks that now are decorating some other squares. One was taken up to People's Square and another one is next to St. John in Lateran Basilica. But there were these 2 obelisks and the chariots had to turn all the way around for 7 times. From here you have a nice view on the Palatine Hill there. Of course the emperors had the best view on the chariot races because from the windows they could enjoy the entertainment that was taking place here. Why nothing has left of the Circus Maximus? It was all covered in marble. Why? Because everything was stolen. Everything was stolen by rich families. What happened? That during the 16th and 17th centuries, very rich families went here and stole everything to decorate their own palaces. So actually what was decorated the Circus Maximus is now decorated something else. Like for example the galleries of the popes at the Vatican. And especially one family came here and stole more or less everything from the Circus Maximus. The name of the family is Barberini. The Barberini family really stole a lot here indeed. Because if the barbarians couldn't steal everything, then they were the Barberini. But you know what? Why? What happened? That during the 16th and 17th centuries, the archaeological area were not back of the 2nd century BC. And they are still standing. You know why? Because during the years they were transformed into churches. That's why they are still well preserved. So the circular one is dedicated to Hercules. And the other one, the one with scaffoldings, is the 1st century BC. And it is still standing. On the top you can see that there are some windows because very rich families in the 15th and 16th century built called the Campidoglio in Italian, hidden by the trees, but then you will see the staircase, not the one in front of us, but the one on the right. As we go closer, you will see another staircase on our right with 2 lions at the bottom. This staircase here on our right, not the one in front of us, was designed by Michelangelo, and it is called Cordonata. It will take you up to the square of the City Hall of Rome, so this is a very important place for Rome. Also the square was designed by Michelangelo. Now you will see some... Oh Madonna mia. Mamma mia, we always say mamma mia when we...
Mamma mia.
We don't know what to say, when we don't want to use bad words, let's say. So, have a look here on your right. Can you see the stages there on the top and the orange palace? That is the City Hall of Rome. The square and the staircase were designed by Michelangelo. While the other staircase, this other one, has 124 steps, and it will take you up to that church over there called the Santa Maria in Aracelli. That church is also used for weddings, but 124 steps. Of course, the bride has time to change her mind while going up. That's why it's used for weddings, just in case. So now we are entering Venice Square, Piazza Venezia. Here you will find the best monument made of white marble that we have in Europe. Have a look, it's huge. It's called the Vittoriano, after the King of Italy, Victor Emmanuel. It was built after the unification of Italy. Italy was unified in 1861, so at the end of the 19th century this monument was built. And it represents the unification of the Italian state. You can see on the top that there is an equestrian statue representing Victor Emmanuel. That's the first king of Italy. You can see the Italian flags on both sides. And the stone that you see is marble, but it's not travertino. The travertino is the typical stone that we have here. It's the stone, for example, the Colosseum. This is Botticino marble. Botticino marble is a marble coming from the north of Italy, and it is the same marble of the White House in Washington DC. That's why the White House is called white, because of the color of the marble, like in a negative sense, of course. So typewriter is in a very negative sense. That's the Vittoriano in Piazza Venezia, Venice Square. You see the smart comment about churches, but just buildings. And consider that this was the social place of it during the ancient Rome.